Look, no bonus for old-timers. Carson Vickery pushed the manila envelope across the sleek conference table like he was tossing out junk mail. Rain pounded the windows behind him, sharpening the chill in his voice. My name is Leonard Abrams. I'm 60, with 27 years at Iron Ridge Components. In 11 days, I'd have earned my $94,000 retirement bonus. Instead, I sat in this cold room as a 45-year-old tech guy told me my time was done. We're reorganizing, Carson said, adjusting his fancy glasses. Sign the severance by Friday, or you get nothing. I glanced at the packet standard termination forms, a meager severance, and a non-compete to block me from the industry for 2 years. The kind of deal meant to push you out quietly. Got it, I said. Thanks for the chance. Carson blinked, likely expecting a fight, a plea, or a legal threat. I stood, shook his hand, and left. The warehouse felt strange that afternoon. 27 years walking these aisles, managing inventory, training newbies, solving issues management never saw. I was here when old Mr. Hendricks ran things from a simple metal desk. I'd weathered the 2018 warehouse fire, the 2009 recession that nearly sank us, and 3 system upgrades, promising to change everything. Now, Carson Vickery, hired 6 months ago from a Cincinnati tech firm, was clearing out deadweight, as I'd overheard him tell Felicia Tran from HR. I packed my desk slowly. 27 years didn't fit in one box, but I managed. The coffee mug my daughter gave me for Father's Day, a photo of my late wife, Helen, from the 2015 company picnic, safety awards and productivity certificates that once mattered. Tommy Rodriguez, a forklift driver I'd trained, stopped by as I taped the box. Mr. Abrams, this isn't fair, he said softly. Everyone knows you deserve that bonus. Things don't always go as planned, Tommy. He wanted to say more, but I patted his shoulder and headed out. Pete Williams, the security guard nearly as tenured as me, avoided my eyes as I handed over my badge and keys. We both knew this wasn't about performance or restructuring, it was about saving 94 grand and making room for Carson's crew. Driving home in the rain, I thought about calls to make. I started at Iron Ridge at 33, fresh from the army, needing stability for Helen, pregnant with our daughter, Jessica. What began as a temporary warehouse gig became nearly 3 decades. Iron Ridge made metal fasteners and hardware for Midwest construction and industrial clients, nothing flashy, but steady, enough to buy a home, raise a family, plan for retirement. Early on, I worked nights and weekends, learning every part of the operation. When Mr. Hendricks expanded to regional distribution, I designed the warehouse layout and wrote training manuals by hand. When computers arrive, I taught older workers to use them. Helen teased I cared more about the warehouse than our garage. She wasn't wrong. I took pride in fixing problems, being the guy management trusted when things broke. Carson Vickery arrived 6 months ago with grand plans and bigger ego. The old CEO, James Mitchell, retired after 30 years, and the board hired Carson to modernize. From a tech firm, he saw workers as data points to optimize. Our first meeting, a strategic alignment session, felt like a grilling. He questioned our paper logs for inventory, weekly safety meetings, and lack of automation. I explained paper logs don't crash, weekly meetings catch issues early, and automation fails without people who know the gear. Carson nodded, but I saw he'd pegged me as an outdated relic. Over months, he pushed out anyone over 50 early retirements, performance plans for solid workers, then flat-out firings for those who challenged him. Felicia Tran, HR director and my colleague for 15 years, warned me weeks ago in the parking lot. Leonard, consider early retirement, she said. Carson's asking about your pay package. I should have listened, seen the signs when 3 senior colleagues were fired just before their bonuses. I thought my 27 years protected me. I was wrong. That evening, I sat at Helen's old kitchen table, severance papers spread out. The rain had stopped, but the silence weighed heavier. $94,000 my reward for 27 years. 11 days shy of my bonus, Carson saved the company money by cutting me loose. The severance was laughable: 6 weeks pay, 3 months insurance. After building Iron Ridge into a major Midwest supplier, they offered me what a temp might get. I pulled out the 2009 employee handbook I'd helped write, flipping to the retirement benefits section I'd negotiated. The bonus was guaranteed for employees with 25-year service at 60. With a grace period to prevent this exact scenario. Carson, new to the company, might not know those clauses or bet I wouldn't fight. I considered calling Jessica, a corporate lawyer in Chicago. Months ago, she'd offered to review my retirement papers, but I'd brushed it off, too proud to worry her. Instead, I scrolled to Mitchell Goldstein, my sister's son, a Columbus labor attorney. At Helen's funeral 2 years ago, he'd given me his card. Family helps family. Call if you need me. He answered on the third ring. Uncle Leonard, you okay? I told him about Carson, the timing, the severance. Mitchell listened, asking only about my contract and retirement policy. Don't sign those papers, he said. Send me everything tonight. You think there's a case? I think Carson made a mistake that'll cost more than 94 grand. After hanging up, I made coffee, feeling something beyond defeat for the first time since the meeting, a spark of fight. Mitchell called Tuesday at 7 a.m. I was up, staring at the gray October sky. Uncle Leonard, we need to meet in Columbus today. His office was modern, smelling of fresh paint. Mitchell, sharp-eyed like his mother, didn't waste time. Carson messed up, he said, spreading my documents on his table. He pointed to Policy 4.7b, a retirement protection clause I'd forgotten. It barred termination without cause within 30 days of bonus eligibility. Restructuring didn't count. I helped write this, I said, recalling James Mitchell's error when we fixed pension-dodging layoffs. Carson either missed it or thinks you won't push back, Mitchell said, leaning in. Don't sign the severance. Request a meeting with HR to discuss your exit terms. Felicia's fair, I said, but she won't cross Carson. She will if she sees a lawsuit coming, he replied. This isn't just your bonus. If Carson's targeting older workers to skip benefits, it's a federal case. We spent 2 hours reviewing my firing and others. Mitchell asked about recent terminations, Carson's reasons, and my email access. Through Thursday, I said, print everything, structuring emails, policy memos, your termination notice, he said. We need evidence. Driving back to Dayton, I felt purpose again. Wednesday, I returned to Iron Ridge to print emails. Carson was waiting. Leonard, he said, like he'd been watching. Thought you were gone. Just grabbing paperwork, I said. Actually, I need to discuss your severance. His office was all glass and steel, unlike James Mitchell's cozy space. He pulled out a new severance deal. I've reconsidered, he said. You've been valuable, so I'm offering 12 weeks pay. Still far from my bonus, but double the original. One catch signed today, and the non-compete stays. He was trying to tie up loose ends, maybe sensing trouble. Thanks, Carson, I said, but I need a few days. His smile stiffened. This deal ends today. After that, it's the original terms. Understood. I went to the warehouse, printed 47 pages of emails, and hid them in my truck. At 5 p.m., I told Carson I needed more time. At 5:01, I was back to the original severance, but I had what I needed. Thursday, Mitchell called with a bombshell. I've checked Iron Ridge's records, he said. Carson fired 7 employees in 8 months, all within 60 days of major retirement benefits. I sank into my kitchen chair. 7. George Murphy, 63, quality control, fired 3 weeks before his 30-year bonus. Patricia Walsh, 58, accounting, cut to months from early retirement. 5 others like them. My coffee was cold, but I felt numb. These were friends George taught me inspections. Patricia helped with Helen's insurance. How's this legal? I asked. They called it performance or restructuring, Mitchell said. Most took severance and left, thinking a fight wasn't worth it. They're wrong. This is systematic age discrimination, a federal offense. He'd contacted those employees. 3 had documents, 2 would join a lawsuit, and George had recorded Carson saying he was cutting dead weight to save costs. George recorded him, I asked. On his phone, Mitchell said. He sensed trouble and protected himself. It's a slam dunk. I pictured George, meticulous, catching issues early. Of course he'd have proof. What now? I asked. We file with the EEOC for age discrimination and a class action lawsuit for all affected, Mitchell said. It'll take months, maybe a year, but we're fighting for everyone Carson hurt, to stop him from doing it again. That afternoon, I drove to George's Kettering home, a tidy ranch with a neat garden and American flag. He looked older than 60. Leonard, I heard he said, offering coffee. Same as me. We talked 2 hours. George, with Iron Ridge since 91, was their best quality inspector. Carson called his methods outdated. He told me we need fewer old heads, more fresh ideas, George said. I recorded it, just in case. He played the clip. Carson's voice, clear and damning. That evening, I called Mitchell. File it all, I said. Let's stop this. Friday, I skipped work for the first time in 27 years, driving to Columbus to plan with Mitchell. By noon, we'd filed an EEOC complaint for age discrimination at Iron Ridge. By 2, a class action lawsuit for 8 employees was in federal court. By 3, Mitchell called Felicia Tran. I laid it out, he said. She knows her department looks bad if this hits trial negligent or complicit. She asked for 24 hours to review files and talk to legal. Driving home, I knew there was no turning back. We'd either win or Carson would blackball me from the industry. Saturday, Tommy Rodriguez called. Mr. Abrams, something's up. Carson held an emergency meeting with Cincinnati lawyers yesterday, and today he's digging through files. Be careful, Tommy, I said. Don't risk your job. Just thought you should know, he said. Felicia's been with lawyers since yesterday, and Carson's rattled. Sunday, Mitchell updated me. Felicia wants a Monday meeting to resolve this before it escalates. What kind? I asked. The kind where they admit mistakes to avoid court, he said. Monday, I wore my best suit and drove to Columbus. Mitchell set the meeting at his office neutral ground. Felicia arrived at 10 with 2 lawyers, looking exhausted. Leonard, she said, shaking my hand. This wasn't company policy. Carson acted without HR or legal input. A lawyer, a woman in her 40s, spoke up. Mr. Abrams, we're offering a full settlement retirement benefits for all affected employees, plus compensation for hardship. Mitchell leaned in. And Carson's status. The lawyer glanced at Felicia. He's no longer with Iron Ridge, terminated Friday. Relief hit me. Carson was out. The board apologizes for the oversight, Felicia said. We're committed to fixing this. We negotiated 3 hours. I got my $94,000 bonus, plus interest, 2 years of deferred contributions, and a formal apology for my file. George and the 6 others got similar deals. As we left, Mitchell clapped my shoulder. Uncle Leonard Carson learned old-timers can fight back. Tuesday, James Mitchell, the former CEO, called. Leonard, I'm sorry, he said. That's not the company we built. Felicia briefed me. The board wants me as interim CEO while they find Carson's replacement. Will you stay on? We need your experience. I looked at the maple tree Helen planted when we bought our house. Its leaves gold and red. Thanks, but it's time to retire, I said. The board's adding protections, he said. No terminations within 60 days of retirement without board approval, plus mandatory age discrimination training, and then naming the policy after you, the Leonard Abrams Fair Employment Policy, in every new hire's orientation. Wednesday, I visited Iron Ridge one last time for my retirement papers and check. Felicia met me in the lobby with an envelope and a wooden plaque. From those staying, she said, thank you for standing up. The plaque read, Leonard Abrams, 27 years of service, a man who fought for us all. I walked the warehouse again. Tommy and others stopped to shake my hand. You got him, Mr. Abrams, Tommy said. We all did, Tommy, I said. Don't let anyone bully you again. Thursday, I deposited my bonus and deferred funds $137,412, not just what Carson tried to take, but everything owed. I met a financial advisor to plan my real retirement, free of legal or job worries. Friday, George called. Got my check with interest, he said. Carson cost me 3 months, but I'm better off now. What's next? I asked. My grandson wants woodworking lessons, he said. I'm building him a That weekend, Jessica visited from Chicago with her family. Over dinner at Helen's table, my grandson played with toy cars. Dad, I'm proud you fought, Jessica said. Mum would be too. I thought of Helen's retirement dreams: national parks, time with grandkids. I'm getting an RV, I told Jessica. Really, Mom wanted to see the Grand Canyon. Sunday evening, I sat on my porch with a beer, watching the sunset through golden maples. Kids played, dogs barked, life moved on. Carson Vickery tried to erase 27 years of my work with one envelope. Instead, he gave me something greater, proof that standing for what's right can win. Sometimes the toughest fight is the one you never expected, but it's the one that shows you who you are.